Welcome, everybody. Good morning. Bon dia, buenos dias, gumorron. Wherever you are in the world, it's morning time here in Aruba. Welcome to our Monday morning intention setting practice, our full moon practice, lunar eclipse practice. I feel like we always have, for almost all of our weekly classes right now, we have so much going on in the sky. My husband likes to joke with me that there's always something with astrology, if you believe in astrology, but it's kind of true that there's always something. So deep welcome, everybody. We're going to have a little combination today of our regular Monday morning flow with our full moon ceremony and our intention practice. So we're going to move today. We're not going to just sit and practice and read and write, but we're going to actually move and flow. You'll also get the opportunity to journal on a couple of prompts that I have prepared for today. We're going to talk about what's going on in the sky and set a good intention for the whole week. So making sure that we're comfortable. I like to sit on a little block or a blanket or something. We have a little more support and height. And if you have an altar space that you've created at home, I kind of share this every month, but just in case it's the first time you're joining, trying to incorporate the 4 elements into our altar spaces, which can be something super simple. You can have one item for each element. Our crystals, of course, this is like one of the trippiest crystals we have at the studio. It's a septarian egg, which is really good for this full moon in Capricorn that we just had. But the crystals represent earth. And then we have our element of fire. I'm going to light a candle in a moment, which of course is the candle is the fire. If you want to smudge something or burn something or smell something like an essential oil or Palo Santo or incense, that is the component of air. And then for water, super easy. You drink a cup of tea or some water and you have all 4 elements with you. You'll also need a journal and a pen today if you don't have that already. So give yourself a moment. So today, wow, I feel like, so we've had a big lunar eclipse, and whenever we have a lunar eclipse that kind of combines with a full moon, usually what it means is that everything becomes a little more intense. So the regular energy of the full moon, which already for a lot of us is, sometimes we have a hard time sleeping, we have some drama come into our lives, we feel really emotional. You might find that everything is just a little heightened around the full moon. When we have a lunar eclipse, all of that becomes even more magnified. So if you've had, especially around the full moon that we just had in Capricorn, if you've had any sort of crisis come up in a relationship, this moon is a lot about relationships, how we relate, of course, to people, but also how we relate to the world around us, to our work life, how we show up in the world, and also, of course, how we relate to ourselves. So if you find that you've had any kind of challenge come up this weekend or this past week, couple days, a crisis of some sort, something that was beneath surface that was unearthed, it all makes sense. And all of those feelings and experiences that you're having are totally valid. So what's interesting is we have a sun in Cancer and a moon in Capricorn, which are total opposing signs. So in Cancer, we really want to be home. We want to nurture ourselves, take care of ourselves. You want to nest. Cancer is a super emotional sign. It's really about going within and giving ourselves permission to really feel and take care of our inner space. And then Capricorn is kind of the doer, the practical one, who is really concerned about career and maybe making money, being out in the world, your reputation, your career, your work life. So when we have the sun in Cancer and the moon in Capricorn, we might find ourselves challenged between these 2 polarities. And with a lunar eclipse, now is a really good time to bring balance between these 2 important areas of our lives. I know I have personally, my entire life, I feel like, struggled with balancing how I take care of myself, how I take care of my home, my inner world, with my work, with how I show up in this world. And I always usually have a little bit more of that giving energy, where energy is in the external space versus the energy that I want for myself within. So taking this time today, especially for this ceremony, we're going to set an intention for the ceremony as well. If you have a struggle around this area or you want to bring in more balance into this area, which I think all of us really need, set that intention for this ceremony and you'll get the opportunity to journal and go a little bit deeper as well in terms of figuring out, where is there an imbalance? Where do I need more support? Where do I need help? Where do I need to bring more focus so that I can have a really solid, good life? Because you deserve that. We all deserve that. So I'm going to read something about this full moon. I am not an astrologer. I kind of wish I was. I'm like an amateur astrologer. I just really like to learn about all these things because to me they make sense. But I'm going to read a little something about the moon just so you have a professional state of mind as well. And then we're going to call in our cardinal directions and open the ceremony properly. So this is from moonomens.com, which is a really cool site for astrology if you want to go a little bit deeper as well. So Capricorn, the Capricorn moon that we just passed, it's about going out there in the world and working on establishing ourselves in society, following the rules and regulations in place. This archetype can leave very little room for consciously taking the time to feel our emotions and understand what our emotions mean. This lunar eclipse inspires us to find balance between our personal time, our self-care, and our family with the energy that we spend working toward our goals and our career. An issue that can come up with the moon in Capricorn is emotional repression. A risk could be that you're focusing too much on being successful in a career as a way to feel good about who you are. And in this process, cutting yourself off from your emotional needs. We might feel the temptation of putting up walls between ourselves and other people instead of asking for help or expressing our true feelings. We also might have some problems verbalizing and talking about what's happening inside of ourselves. During these days and the week ahead, while the energy is more powerful, notice if you end up in situations where you have the temptation of being judgmental and quick to discredit other people. And think about if you have been unconsciously judging yourself in that same way. The lunar eclipse in Capricorn asks us to make a conscious effort to reconnect with your emotions and then release them. She gives us permission to feel and express unapologetically so we can let go of the burden of carrying them. I love this. Who resonates? Like, feel our feelings, express our feelings. What right now? That's always a really good practice to have, and especially now when we feel like maybe there's a lot of change in our lives, in the world around us. There's a lot of upheaval, loss of structure, loss of normalcy. Expressing and allowing our emotions really is the most important thing so we can navigate this in a good way. Okay, so let's sit up tall, kind of ground into the sit bones just a little bit. If you want, you can close your eyes. We're going to take a breath as I light the candle, officially opening our ceremony today. And then with your eyes closed, if you have a specific intention you'd like to set for this next hour, right, just for this moment we're sharing together here in the Shala and out around in the world. Perhaps there's something that you are uncovering inside of yourself that you would like to deepen, that you would like to explore a little bit further. Maybe around this full moon, there's something you want to let go of. Just take a moment as you take a few deep breaths here now, just to yourself. Connecting to the intention you want to set for this practice, for this ceremony, for this day, this moment in time. And then with that intention, let's take a deeper breath in through the nose. Open the mouth and exhale it out. Good. And then we'll blink the eyes open. We're going to come to a stand so we can call in the 4 cardinal directions, which I love, especially since we are in the midst of a global practice right now. Wait, I have too many hands. Not enough hands. Too many hands. Just allowing us all to feel like we really are grounded by facing the different directions that actually bring us into this place and time. So we are going to begin by facing east, which in the Shala is this way. So we'll turn around, and if you're at home, energetically facing the direction of east or using the compass on your phone to bring yourself into that same direction. And then rooting down through the soles of the feet, standing up nice and tall, taking a deep breath here. Powers of where the sun rises and a new day dawns. Bring us a clean slate, a fresh start, and new beginnings. We'll turn facing the direction of south, so a quarter turn towards south, rooting down through the feet here. Powers of the south, where warm light calls us home. Ignite our heart's desire. Bring us joy, passion, and abundance. And then we turn another quarter turn facing the direction of west. If you're at home, energetically anchoring into the vibration of west. Powers of the west, where the land meets the sea. Bring us the vastness of deserts, the swift flow of rivers, and the steady security of the ground beneath our feet. And then finally, we take one final quarter turn facing north. Powers of the north, where the quiet darkness grants us rest, and cold winds bring change. Show us vision, bring us trust, truth, and insight. Please guide the way. And then from there, finding a comfortable seat. Again, rooting into the sit bones. And then finding that comfortable place to be so I can shuffle our deck this morning, picking our card for the week. So we're again working with the archetype deck, which has been a really powerful full deck for me personally. It's been a powerful deck for all of us collectively, I think. So sitting down and beginning to bring all of your awareness inward. And taking a moment to yourself right now to just acknowledge within yourself what brought you to this practice this morning. Noticing whatever longing is present within you that brought you to this moment, this class, this ceremony right now. Perhaps right now you're longing for a moment of peace, looking for a way to ground, to root into yourself. Or maybe you're longing for connection, wanting to feel like you're a part of the whole. Looking for ways to be of service to your community, to this world. Or perhaps this morning you're excited to set your intentions for this day, for the week ahead, or perhaps around the full moon to release something, to let something go. The full moon really is a time of releasing, of putting down what doesn't serve us anymore, of being done with whatever has played out, whatever served its purpose in your life, right? Whether that's a relationship, a structure, a practice, a pattern, thoughts, how you treat others, how you treat yourself. So as you allow your breath to deepen, really connecting to that place deep within where you can sense your purpose in being here right now, where you can sense your own potential, the opportunity that you have to actually make space for what you need in your life and let go of what you don't. So taking another deep breath here in this moment. And then keeping the eyes closed, we'll allow the next cycle of breath that we take to be the deepest breath we have taken all morning long. So deep, full inhale in through the nose. Pause at the top of the breath. Open the mouth. And exhale to release. Good. And then blink the eyes open. So we pulled the seed. I don't know why that made me laugh, but I really feel like it's an important card. It's the seed. So these archetype cards are really potent, I find, really intense, really powerful. I don't use this deck a lot just because I feel like each card that we pull, it's like a once a week type of deck, not an everyday type of deck. The seed, the beginning, the origin, the pearl. Beginnings come in many forms. They are not always a beautiful seed placed intentionally in nourishing soil. Origin stories, like any birth story, are complex, surprising, multi-layered, and usually reveal a central image or detail that represents the fully formed being. Simply stated, the end is present in the beginning, or the entire oak tree resides within the acorn. Whether you follow this imaginal theory or not, know that when this card appears, there is potent generative energy all around. It stirs your very insides and usually results in an antsy, impatient feeling. Pay particular attention to what agitates you right now, as it is a sure sign of growth to come. You are bumping up against a growth edge. Oh, I really like that. You are bumping up against a growth edge. It is from the grit that the pearl eventually comes to be. When light, the seed is generative, fertile, germinating, and building. When dark, it's festering, stewing, and dormant. One of the alchemist's favorite images was the pearl. The irritant, over time, becomes the treasure. What is your grit? The true seed is elusive. If we follow any story backward toward its origin, it spirals farther and farther back in time. In this way, we are always the seed, and we are also always the fruit it bears. Wow. The beginning, the origin, the pearl. We are bumping up against the growth edge. I think that's a really, really, really big one. So whatever is irritating you, whatever is bothering you, whatever is challenging you, whatever big wound you're experiencing right now, it's the grit allowing for you to uncover the pearl, right? So with that, we're going to pick up our journals right now and have a moment to write before we move and start to anchor a little deeper into the body. So as with every full moon ceremony, I want to start with some gratitude. I think it's anytime we have a ceremony just to have a moment of gratitude. So just a minute or so to journal on what you are grateful for right now. Super simple, so important. It's actually so important. Sometimes we lose sight of it, or we forget to practice gratitude. We take things for granted. So right now, I am most grateful for, or you can bullet point a list of all the things you are grateful for in your life right now. Just taking another moment to put your gratitude on paper. Remembering gratitude can be small moments in our day, can be big structures and people in our lives. And then we'll take the second prompt right from there. So I want this prompt to really be around where we are at astrologically right now, this lunar eclipse. So journaling on the balance that you have between your home and your work life. which doesn't necessarily need to be your home as in your house and your family and your career, but it can be your home as your relationship to your body, your self-care, and the balance you have with how you take care of other people, how you show up for the world. So the balance between your home and your work, the balance between your body and the rest of your life, the challenge between or balance between your self-care and care for others. Take a moment or a few moments actually to just journal on that. And we call this stream of consciousness journaling, right? So you just write and you keep writing. If your mind gives you a gap, just write and see what comes and look at it as almost a purge, allowing yourself to uncover something a little bit deeper. What has that balance between your home and your work been throughout your life? How has that balance maybe shifted during coronavirus, during isolation, during all the crazy things that came our way this year? And what is it like right now? Right? Do you have a lot of output in terms of your work, in terms of your ability to show up in this world, the idea of success, maybe the idea of money, your reputation, how other people see you, getting out there in the world and making a difference or creating something? And if we have a lot of energy in that sense, maybe there's not as much energy left over for our own self-care, right? Or for our families, or for our home, our nest, our bodies, our health. Or perhaps for you, it's the other way around. Maybe you've always had a lot of energy grounded in the home life, and you find it challenging and a struggle to get motivated, to get out there and create. So take a few moments and go as deep as you can. You're not going to read this to anyone. This is just you and your emotions, you and your feelings, you and your thoughts. Anchored into the body, breathing deep, perhaps journaling through the grit on your way to uncovering the pearl. And take another few moments to write, to open up. And if you feel you are uncovering something big, you can always, of course, at any time, come back and journal on this topic because it's a really important one. And it's not just the idea of the structure of our work and our home, but our giving and receiving, right? Our ability to give to ourselves as much and as freely as we give to the world. And that's something we shouldn't take for granted. And we'll put a dot at the end of that last sentence. Put your journal and your notebook aside. And then from here, just finding a comfortable seat once again. Hands are going to ground down through the knees. And then closing the eyes right away. And with your eyes closed, allow your next cycle of breath to grow just a little bit deeper.